In Revelation chapter 21, God describes the city, which is the permanent home for all of us who belong to Jesus, and He describes who lives there. In this episode, we will explore this holy city and its residents. If you are sometimes discouraged in your walk of faith, or just want to understand God's plan for people, this message is for you. I am Callaway. Thanks for joining us. I will be reading from the New Living Translation, but any good English translation will convey the same meaning. Let's get into it. Revelation 21, beginning with verse 1. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared, and the sea was also gone. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven like a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. I heard a loud shout from the throne saying, "Look, God's home is now among His people. He will live with them and they will be His people. God Himself will be with them. He will wipe every tear away from their eyes. And there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All these things are gone forever. Nothing evil will be allowed to enter, nor anyone who practices shameful idolatry and dishonesty, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life." Where is this city located? Many think that we will go to heaven to live with God there. That is wrong. God comes to us. We live together on the transformed earth. Who lives in this city? Many people think that heaven is for good people and hell is for bad people. That is wrong. There are no good people. The New Jerusalem is for those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. Let's pursue this topic a little bit more. The folks who are in the Lamb's book of life are described in various ways. In Revelation chapter 7, they're described like this: "They have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb and made them white." Revelation 14 describes them as they have been purchased from among the people on the earth as a special offering to God and to the Lamb. And in Revelation 21, "To all who are thirsty, I will give freely from the springs of the water of life. All who are victorious will inherit all these blessings." I discussed the invitation to the thirsty in a podcast labeled "Don't Ignore This Invitation." All of these expressions apply to the residents of the city. They have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb, they have been purchased, and they drink from the springs of the water of life. When I believe that Jesus died for me and rose from the dead, I wash my robe. I am purchased, and I begin drinking from the springs of the water of life. In this new earth, all of the laws of physics are rewritten. Death, sorrow, crying, and pain are etched deeply into our current world. Ever since Adam and Eve were banished from the Garden of Eden, these things have reigned supreme in the sons of Adam. Death always has had the last word. All men understand sorrow. Men begin to cry from when they first come out of the womb. Everyone hurts. But in this city, all of these things are banished. There are two other aspects of this glorious place that I would like to discuss in more detail. The first is the sea was also gone. This is terrific news. The world's oceans separate mankind. No more of this. What does the sea represent in the Bible? First, the sea is dangerously unpredictable. Jonah chapter 14. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God, and they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. Matthew chapter 8. Suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us, we're going to drown." Paul was in a ship when it was struck by a storm. The voyage ends like described in Acts chapter 27, but they hit a shoal and ran the ship aground. The bow of the ship stuck fast, while the stern was repeatedly smashed by the force of the waves and broke apart. The sea is dangerously unpredictable, but there is no more sea. The sea is an instrument of death. Genesis chapter 7. For 40 days the floodwaters grew deeper, covering the ground and lifting the boat high above the earth. As the waters rose higher and higher above the ground, the boat floated safely on the surface. Finally, the water covered even the highest mountains on earth. All living things on earth died. Birds, domestic animals, wild animals, small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the people. In Exodus chapter 14, when all the Israelites had reached the other side, the Lord said to Moses, "Raise your hand over the sea again, then the waters will rush back and cover the Egyptians and their chariots and their charioteers." It ends by saying, all of the Egyptians who had chased the Israelites into the sea, not a single one survived. The sea is an instrument of death, but there is no more sea. The sea is a symbol of continuous unrest. Isaiah 57 verse 20. But the wicked are like the tossing sea, which cannot rest, whose waves cast up mire and mud. There is no peace, says my God, for the wicked. The sea is a symbol of continuous unrest, but there is no more sea. No more sea. In this new world, mankind is not separated. Danger, death, and unrest are cast away. This is very good news. But there's even better news. Revelation 21:22. I saw no temple in the city, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. No more temple. The temple followed the basic floor plan and purpose of the tabernacle, whose plan was given to Moses when he was on Mount Sinai with God. So I will use the words tabernacle and temple interchangeably, since they have the same floor plan, the same furniture, and the same function. Hebrews chapter 9 describes some important aspects of the tabernacle. There were 2 rooms in that tabernacle. In the first room were a lampstand, a table, and sacred loaves of bread on the table. This room was called the holy place. Then there was a curtain, and behind the curtain was the second room called the most holy place. Verse 6. When these things were all in place, the priests regularly entered the first room as they performed their religious duties. But only the high priest ever entered the most holy place, and only once a year. And he always offered blood for his own sins and the sins the people had committed in ignorance. In the temple, God dwelt behind a curtain through which no man may pass except the high priest once a year. One function of the temple was to separate God and man. God is the source of infinite joy and peace, but in the temple he is shut away in a room. For any man not from the family of Aaron, or for any woman, God is inaccessible. It doesn't matter how strong, obedient, or smart a man is, he simply cannot enter. But in this new city, there is no temple. There is no separation. All can see God face to face. 1 John chapter 3. Dear friends, we are already God's children, but he has not yet shown us what we will be like when Christ appears. But we do know that we will be like him, here it comes, for we will see him as he really is. And all who have this eager expectation will keep themselves pure, just as he is pure. So one function of the temple was to separate God and man. But there is no more temple. Another function of the temple was to offer sacrifice for sins. Good news. New Jerusalem has no temple. Sin is all in the past tense. Our resurrected bodies will not be tempted to do evil. The tempter has already been thrown into the lake of fire, and my resurrected self is no longer drawn to sin. There is no separation between God and the residents of this city. There is no longer a constant reminder of sin. There will be no sin. Doing away with the sea is good news. Doing away with the temple is fantastic news. On a side note, what will we do in this new city? I don't know. But what I do know is that God has the ability to completely satisfy me. The focus here seems to be relationship. I will be with him, and that will be enough. Isaiah 55. Is anyone thirsty? Come and drink, even if you have no money. Come, take your choice of wine or milk. It's all free. Why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? Why pay for food that does you no good? Listen to me, and you will eat what is good. You will enjoy the finest food. Come to me with your ears wide open. Listen, and you will find life. I will make an everlasting covenant with you. I will give you all the unfailing love I promised to David. If you want more information, the website where you found this podcast can point you in a useful direction. I worship at Trenton First Baptist Church, where the Bible is preached, taught, and lived. Come see for yourself.